Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to Play Painted Live. Time for another live feed. We're starting actually a little bit early this evening, and I think Tuesday night's going to be our evening. So that's what we're doing. I am setting up the rest of this feed, so I will get on that immediately. Once again, broadcasting down here from the new place where I think our streaming quality is going to be better. I'm not so sure about the lighting, though. So, once again, still working on stuff like that. And let me open up the view page here. Stream status is okay. I'm not really sure. Maybe that's not so good. But anyway, I'm going to open up the watch page here and the comments. And then if you want to comment, feel free. There we go. Hit mute there. So now I'm watching the comments on the larger monitor. So anyway, let's get into what I'll be painting tonight, and then let the rambling commence. If you guys have any comments, any questions, or anything like that, now is the time to do it. So let me show you what's on the painting table right now, and then we're going to narrow it down. Okay, so because there was a lot of stuff going on from last week, and just to let you know, I mean, ever since I moved over here to the new place, it's been great. The new space has been fantastic, but I think like one of the trade-offs with the new house is there's so much to do in a new place, so many errands, and then, you know, my wife's pregnancy is progressing, so I'm having to pick up the slack in a lot of areas as well. So it's, anyways, what I'm getting at is things are getting more and more busy as time goes on, and I'm actually not getting the time for painting in the evening the way I used to. So you know, typically, like at the old other place, I would get 2 to 3 hours a night to paint. That's a lot of time. I'm realizing that like that was a luxury. Like I got a lot of time to paint, but you know, things like for example, last night I was planning on getting some painting done, but my son wouldn't go to sleep. And he may not go to sleep tonight. So we'll see how far we got. I asked my wife tonight, like, hey, you know, I'm in the middle of a commission. Can I please paint tonight to try to play a little catch up? And she's super, super sweet about it. She's like, yeah, go ahead and do it. But I'm still going to be on standby, guys, because it's not fair to her. You know, she's at this point, she's very pregnant. She's having the Braxton Hicks contractions. I mean, there was a point in this evening where she thought, hey, maybe I am actually going into labor, because we're at about 37, 38 weeks now. So it's going to happen at any point. We're really are at the 11th hour here. But anyway, let's get into what I am working on and explain what I'm going to be working on tonight. So this all started a couple of weeks ago with me building You're the little kid. This all started a couple of weeks ago with me building Avarice and Greed. So I built Avarice and Greed. I'm just slowly, and I mean keyword slowly, chipping away at these guys. And just really at this point, not a whole lot done, just the airbrush, the base. This is kind of the undercoat that kind of ends up being like a golden type color, an ochre yellow type color. So I was working on those guys. That was the first thing that I started to do when after I finished my Arena Rexella from a few weeks back. So I'm working on those guys. Then I decided, hey, you know, last week, let's build our wild in the street stuff, right? So then we built all the wild in the street stuff on camera, and I started on them. And when I started on them, you know, I sprayed them this kind of off-whitish color, and I started to work on the eyes a little. This guy kind of looks like a zombie. It's like his eyes are a little too dark there. I'll definitely have to come back in and fix those, but you know, you can kind of see where they're going. Like just barely started these guys, just barely started these guys. And then it was like, oh, you know, then we played some Guild Ball, and it's like, oh, you gotta you got to start my guild ball team. And I have this problem of not being able to say no to people, especially when somebody's like really excited about the game and it was like, yeah, you know, I want to start your team, but if I'm going to do your team, like, give me the whole team, let me knock it all out at once and paint it. And it was like, no, this is like, I just have a nightmare with my in-person commissions. And I don't know. I think at this point I may stop taking them. I might stop taking in-person commissions. I might just do like paint stuff and put it on eBay and see how it goes. And the reason why is because, again, like I game with these people, and I can't fault them because, you know, they're in a different life situation. You know, they don't make a lot of money. Typically, gamers are freaking broke, like, for the most part. I don't understand why they get into this hobby. I know, this is just me. But whatever. Like, I get it. It's, you know, gamers are broke, and it's tough, and I definitely want to support gaming, but sometimes you get to a point where it's like, man, the amount of effort I'm putting into this, for stuff that takes me away from my family, stuff that you know, takes me away from more important things. If the hobby isn't important enough for you to you know, to save up some money and pay off in a simple lump sum, then it's unfair to expect it to be important enough for me to scrape by. Let me explain some mathematics here, some economics here. So if you're just tuning in and you're listening to me bitch, sorry. But I'm going to go through it anyways, okay? Because it's kind of a learning experience. And again, I'm such a sucker. I can't say no to people, especially people I game with. Like, I can't say no. I can't not like help somebody get a team if they want one. It's totally fair. I think to compromise those, you know, I have to put my foot down. At times I have to kind of be a little bit mean. Anyways, here's my favorite Wild in the Streets guy. He's, you know, just barely started, but yeah. So, but not working on any of that stuff tonight. Not working on any of that stuff I just showed you. Okay. So anyway, I always notice too, like when I paint commissions on the feed, I always have like some gripe. So it's me. Whatever. Call me a prick. Whatever you want to do. Anyway, so it's like, please paint my team. I don't have any money. I want you to work on it. Yada yada yada. I don't want to do it. That's my pushback. It's not fair. You know, I'm gonna need money up front. Not very cool. That whole thing. And so we're building a Morticians team, right? So it's going to be a Morticians team, and, you know, I want specific models painted, and I can't pay you for a full team, because for me to paint a 6-man Morticians team, just do a little bit of math. It's the retail cost of the model. So that'd probably run you somewhere between $75 to $110, right? Somebody can't afford that. And it's like, well, you know, just paint these 3. Paint these 3 miniatures, okay? Just paint those 3 and we'll start there. And let me just be honest with you. I don't make any money off this. I don't make any money off this. This is a super bad deal for me, okay? Because the way I make money with being able to charge low prices is off of several things. But one of the main things that actually makes me money is that my time ratio, I become super, super efficient and economic with regards to a specific model count. In other words, if I'm painting between 6, this is just me knowing my own routines, knowing my own capabilities. If I'm painting between 6 and say 10 models, that's ideal. If I paint between 6 and 10 models and I make a profit of say $100, that's ideal, because that works out to be, you know, something like a little over $10 an hour, right? That's not too bad. A lot of painters say, oh, you should be making $10 an hour painting for other people. And I agree with that. But everybody's economics is different based on how they paint. Like there's the high-end painters, they charge $10 an hour, or they work it out so that they're charging $10 an hour, but they're only working on one piece, you know. they'll take their one piece and they'll paint it. You know, they'll spend 40 hours painting a piece, right? And then they'll give it back to the guy. They'll give this piece back to somebody and go, here, that's $400. And their clientele will pay it. And they, you know, the downside to it is unless you are really, really, really good and really connected, you're not going to make, you're not really going to make enough money to kind of keep the hobby in the black, or you're not going to be able to make enough. You'll make enough to pay for your hobby, but you're only going to get like a $400 commission like this. You're not going to get those unless you're a big, super famous outlet. You're not going to make that very often. You're not going to get that very often. So painters like me, we'll just say production painters like me, survive off this idea that we can make a reasonable amount of money and actually have a good turnaround. Like I was saying, 6 to 10 miniatures for me. I make a profit of, say, $100, and I turn that around in the space of 7 days. It's actually going to work out to be around 4, maybe 5 nights worth of painting. Like I said before, it's 2 to 3 hours per night. We'll call it 2 hours per night painting. So 10 models, 5 nights, 10 hours total, $100 profit, right? That's $10 an hour. See how that works? Now let's do the math with 3 models. And this is why I have, well, let's do the math with 3 models. Okay, so these 3 models, their retail is going to be like, we'll call it 35. We'll be generous. Let's call it $40, right? Their retail is $40. 3 models is still going to take me, because of, you know, how I do flesh and how I do pinning. Like I pin everything on the models. I pin them all, pinning, stamping bases, priming, painting, all that stuff is still going to take me at least, at a minimum, 3 nights. 3 nights, right? So 3 nights, we'll call it 6. Well, that's a minimum. It's actually going to be more like 4 nights. But let's stick with the positive here. Let's say 3 nights. So 3 nights at 2 hours a night, that's 6 hours, and I'm going to make $40 at it, right? So already I'm down to like $6 an hour painting these to the same quality that I would have painted 10 models. I'm painting these and making 40% less. In fact, $40 barely, you know, barely would cover the operating cost of just setting up, pinning, priming, painting. Like $40 this is nothing. Like, and that's why. And like the last guy that asked me, oh, hey, can you do this commission? It's only 1 model. What would you charge? And I told him, well, that's not a good deal coming from me, because yeah, you know, if it's a game that I'm playing, you know, I should only be charging you, say, $12 if it were a $12 model. But doing the math and running through the exercise that I just did, it would cost a minimum. It's a reason why I have a minimum $50 setup fee. Okay, I know that sounds shitty, right? But think about that for a second. It's $50. I should be working on $50 worth of stuff for you to get any sort of value out of me and my services. For me to get any sort of, because if you just said, oh, this is $10 painted over a week, and this is $10 painted over a week, and this is $10 painted over a week, I'm actually losing a lot of money. I lose a lot of money because now it's a separate setup every single time. It's a separate time to mix milliput. It's a separate time to stamp. It's a separate time to pin. It's a separate time to prime. And it's definitely a separate time to go through and paint everything. I lose a lot of money doing that. I could actually, it's actually more profitable for me to just duck my head and just paint what I know is popular and put it on eBay. I'll make a lot more money doing that than stuff like this. And that's why I charge a $50 minimum setup. Okay. The other gripes that I talked about on the show before, like sending me models that are glued into the tabs and that kind of shit, that's super bad too. Like I lose a lot of money. There's a reason why my prices are so low. It's based on a very specific efficiency. And anytime I'm asked to go outside of that efficiency, anytime I'm asked to break routine, I start losing money. So, and I know it sounds super greedy, but hey, man, I got a wife, I got 2 kids. Like, this is a hobby. I can no longer afford, just being raw here, but I can no longer afford to just piss money away on this the way I used to. You know, it's got to at least pay for itself. If I'm going to be away from my family, if I'm going to be away from, whatever, soapbox over. But anyway, welcome, Play It Painting Live. Let me know what you're painting, what you should be painting. Right now, I'm painting this commission, and frankly, yeah, like I said, it's not fair. It's not fair. That and then finally, just to add insult to injury, it's like, here's paint this, paint green and purple on Mortician models. Just paint them like clowns. Like, that's, come on, man. If you really want good job, if you really want good work, like, don't let the artist do what he's gonna do. Like, let him paint the way that he thinks is gonna work, because this other way is no good. It really isn't. Anyway, let's get to it. All right, so I've got a little bit of highlighting to do here on the flesh. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Then I'm gonna spend a lot of time painting purple. And just we'll get into it from there. Okay, where is? I've been using a lot more like matte medium for my flesh. So I use a lot of matte medium, a little bit of thinning medium. And then just a little bit of paint, like really thin, guys. I've been doing that lately because I need the flesh tones to come out super smooth. It's like been a big deal for me. In fact, I should try to find light flesh just to I can put in a little bit of this pale flesh in here. Ooh, I don't like it when I like it when you're trying to squeeze out a little bit of paint and you can feel that resistance. It means that what you're going to get is goopy, messy stuff. There we go. And like 1 drop of water. There we go. All right. So yeah, that's what's going on. Like, I was in the middle. I wanted to paint some stuff for me. That all that avarice and greed and all that wild in the street stuff. That's for me. And then this came around, and I'm a little annoyed by it. I think when the client comes back and says, "Hey, I've got another batch of models," I'm going to tell them, you got to give me at least $50 worth of business, or I'm not doing it, because it super screws with my efficiency. And I know it seems like minor stuff, but again, like, we're talking about, time is money, guys. You have to be protective of your time. You have to, especially those of us who have jobs, who have families, like, we have to be protective of that and whatever. So I'm just gonna give a little bit of a highlight here to Obulus face. It doesn't have to be. Like, he's almost a little too vibrant looking with the green. I airbrushed the green on. Haven't shaded it yet. It'll look better when it's shaded, but right now it just looks like, it looks weird. It doesn't look great. Let's so in other news, now that I'm done bitching about the money I'm not making on this commission, I thought I should point out that I went ahead and demonetized my channel. for a couple of reasons. And I think I talked about this a little bit last time. But I demonetized my channel, one, because, frankly, it's not making any money. And it's more of an annoyance to the few people that still continue to watch the channel. They shouldn't have to click on ads. There's not, this channel is not big enough to make any revenue off of ads. But two, there's this whole idea that, YouTube seems to be showing some bias against specific opinions and specific posters and screwing with their actual livelihood. Like the channels that I'm sub to, the bigger channels that I'm sub to, there's a lot of them that I think they do a lot of really good work. And I think they deserve that ad revenue, right? But because, because of our culture, our modern culture, and because there's some entity that's saying what's right and what's wrong, and how to, what's wrong think, how you can't post your opinion on things, they start demonetizing stuff. And while I fully support their right to grant or take that privilege away, I think it's just shitty that that's happening on social media everywhere, that there is a right think and a wrong think. And regardless of how I stand on any particular issues, I don't think that I'm ever right enough to start messing with the most basic, basic things. Okay. Whew. So there's rage. Let me know what you're painting or what you should be painting. But, otherwise I'm just going to keep rambling. We're going to paint a little bit tonight. We'll see how far we get with these guys. It's going to be mostly base coating tonight, so, it might get a little boring. If you want me to ramble about anything specific, go ahead and put it in the comments. Otherwise, I'm just going to, we're just going to stream of consciousness this bitch, like we always do, right? We always do that on this feed. We just kind of go wherever my mind happens to be going. But yeah, so I demonetized my channel, guys. It's and I'm hoping that that makes the experience just a little bit better for you guys that are tuning in regularly. That you don't have to deal with stupid ads to click off. That you can just turn this on and listen to me bullshit over some painting whenever you want. That's kind of the goal. So that's it. I'm not even really going to use much of this. Let me, while I'm here, I guess what I can do is I can use this color just as a little highlight on A and G here. Just get the tippy tops of the knuckles and stuff like that, just to give this model a little more believability when I get back to painting it. Yep. So once again, welcome to the show. Let us know what you're painting, what you should be painting. Just painting some green and purple tonight. The client originally said Skeletor, and Skeletor is mostly blue when you look at him. He's mostly like a blue-gray and like a navy color. He's not very purple and green. He's got he's got that yellowish green skull, obviously. There are plenty of depictions of Skeletor wearing a purple type hood, and then, but there are just as many of him wearing like a dark blue or a navy hood. This guy looks just like The Hills Have Eyes. I don't know why I ended up highlighting him. I think I wanted to shape his eyes a little bit because it looked a little weird. So a little Wild in the Streets detour here real quick while I've got the color out. There you go. So yeah, so that happened. Demonetized the channel, and then hopefully some of you guys tuned into the Ninja All-Star games that I posted this past weekend. That was fun, guys. I had a couple friends coming over, and I figured let's play some Ninja All-Stars because that's what they wanted to play. And I decided to mix it up a little bit. You know, we played so many games on the original map that I was like, well, you know, I want to change it up a little bit. And then as it turns out, I needed those maps anyway because my friend Damien kind of talked me into playing D&D again. I haven't played D&D for, man, like 26 years, I think. And so he talked me into it. And so I'm going to play again. And I was like, well, I have these maps, these RPG maps that they're laminated maps, and you can write on them, and they're gridded, and they're fantastic. And we can use them for D&D. But you can also use them for, like, Super Dungeon Explorer. That's what I actually bought them for, was Super Dungeon Explorer, and to a lesser extent, Ninja All-Stars. So I was like, well, let's use it for that. So I broke out 2 different maps, the boat map for Ninja All-Stars, and then I broke out the shoot, I can't even think. the boat map for Ninja All-Stars, and then also the manor map. Okay, so there's 2 ways I can go about this purple here. I can go brown. I can undercoat brown and go all the way up to purple. Or, if I'm being honest with you, the way I think I should do this is I should just go purple. I should just actually just go purple and then go highlight to light purple, right? So the way you wanted to do this is you wanted most of the robes to be green. Well, first off, let's do a little black gray. Let's do some black gray accents to this and see what we can get here. And I'll start with silence. Okay. So yeah, and so we agreed to play some D&D, right? And we're also playing some Ninja All-Stars. And for D&D, I kind of made the suggestion, hey, I've got enough chibi miniatures that we can play D&D using only chibi miniatures. And, you know, that idea kind of took foot. Oh, farted. Yeah, see, that's right, farted on camera. That took hold, and so it was like, let's use our Ninja All-Stars models. And so my buddy, Jose, decided he wants to play Bakusho Umandai from Ninja All-Stars. For those of you guys that get the reference, this is Hard Gay. This is the Hard Gay miniature, the Hard Gay character from Japanese television. So he wants to play Hard Gay. And I want to play a Kenku type character, so I've got this Tengu. And so now they're sitting on the painting table because they need to be done so that we can play D&D. So now suddenly I have a bunch of not-for-profit projects on board that I'm going to have to take care of. I lost a viewer probably because I farted. Oh, this is interesting. So this character kind of has this like collar here. So I know we're going to do this. We're going to do these feathers, kind of this black gray. Right. So I'll do the feathers, black gray. And I'll do, I guess I'll do around, this guy's kind of his cowl. You know, he kind of has that black thing that's kind of that black head covering on. So he'll be mostly green because that's what the client wants. And I'll do a little black here. And then we'll do a little purple. Okay, should anything else on this guy be black? Yes. right there. That should be black. He's got a pair of scissors. He's got like this is like a hypodermic needle he's got here. He's got like a pair of scissors right here that should also be black. Okay. And then I'll do layers of green and purple. And then this part right here, this will also be black. So his whole face will be kind of framed by this black. So I'm doing a Vallejo model. I think this is called German gray. And it's super dark color. It's like it's almost the same color as Vallejo model color black gray. And I use so much black gray that it's hard to find black gray locally now. Like I would actually probably have to check 2 or 3 different places before I could find it. There we go. Again, if you guys have anything to say in the comments or anything to ask me, feel free. Otherwise, who knows what I'll be talking about. I honestly don't know how many of these live feeds I'm going to have left. You know, like I said, my wife kind of jokingly saying that she's going to go into labor tonight, but it's only half joking. Like that might very well happen tonight, which is it's got me a little bit on alert because it is very early. It's not terribly early. It's like not like super preemie, but that's still fairly early. Okay, I'm gonna paint in a little more black here. I'm gonna leave that skull kind of green. Yeah, I was supposed to put my butchers on eBay, and I definitely need to do that. I don't know if I can find all my packing stuff, though, but we'll see. All right, and I think, honestly, that's pretty much all I'm going to do for black on this model. We'll leave that We'll leave that like that. Let's see, what does Rage here have? He's got like a dead rabbit on him, which is interesting. There's not a whole lot of things to paint black. I'll paint his mustache black. Let's give him a black handlebar. Sometimes, if I'm being completely transparent with you guys, sometimes if I feel like I'm not getting a fair deal out of some of these, then I feel like, you know, if there's ever a part where it's like, well, I could do a little bit more, but I don't, I'm going to err on the side of not doing a little bit more. Mainly because, like, you know, like I said, like something like this, I'm arguably taking a loss on. So, you know, so I could have done like razor stubble or blood effects or that kind of stuff, but we're not going to do that. Okay. He also, I think that's it. I mean, everything else. I could paint his shoes black. I guess I'll do that. Just let's paint the boots black, I guess. Because why not? I still have to paint the cobblestone bases. I think I'm going to do those like a brick red so that they're, you know, because of the purple and the green, I think brick red will be a nice contrast. Normally I would have done like a gray slate, but not with this. This particular color scheme is going to be very desaturated, so I'll probably need a little bit of warmth on the model, so I'll put it on. I'll get that on the bases. All right, there's that. Now to do the big guy here, so he will have black hair. Start there. Opulence is such a weird miniature. It really does not match the artwork at all. It's kind of skipping through the underworld ferryman. And don't get me wrong, it's a cool sculpt and all, but definitely not what I was expecting to see the very first time I cracked open a Morticians set. Thought I was going to be looking at a guy that looks a lot more like a straight up ninja. Okay. So I'm going to paint quite a bit of black on this model, actually, because all these feathers should be black. His rod, the rod that he's carrying, the scepter, I guess it's a scepter, that should be black. I just think he'll look better. He'll look better with a lot of black. I think the purple and green scheme is not great. I mean, we'll make it work. It's just not optimum. How about that? It's not an optimum color scheme for a team like Morticians. So some cool announcements from Ninja Division lately. They've got that King of Fighters game coming out. That looks pretty cool. It's a card game. Wish they had miniatures in it, but you know, hey, I can't have it all. I'll probably come up with miniatures I want to use for that game and do it anyway, knowing me. I'll do the same with Luchador too, because Luchador looks like a really cool game by Ninja Division. So we got that going on from Ninja Division. Then they've announced that Void Break's coming out in November. So I'm super pumped about that. So yeah, I got to tell you guys, I am I've gone full fanboy back for Ninja Division, like all over again, because last year I was a big fanboy of Ninja Division. Gen Con, they did the buy the Gen Con exclusives things on the web store, and I got screwed on that. Like, I did not get my stuff till like 6 months after Gen Con, and it was a big that was like a big problem. I think it was just a volatile point for Ninja Division. So they're not trying to make excuses for them, but it was a point where they just weren't on the ball. To be totally honest with you, they weren't on the ball, and a bunch of us called them on it. Not just me, but a bunch of other longtime supporters called them on it. Like, hey guys, what is going on here? Help us out. We like your products. We like the themes. We like the company. Give us a chance to, to share how delighted we are with you. And they really kind of dropped the ball there on that one. Why are you talking to me? My cat just walked in. But so they screwed the pooch a bit on that, and we called them on it. And Ninja Division, though, they really they did a 180, and I don't know if that was the breaking point. I'm sure there's probably a lot of stuff that went on in between then, but ever since then, they have turned it around in my books, and they are really embracing who they are, and they're picking good projects in my opinion. one of the most interesting things is the concept that I had always kind of theorized about, but now I get to see firsthand, is that Ninja Division's core target audience really isn't your standard tabletop wargamer. It's really more this anime, social crowd that they resonate with. And, you get to see that firsthand at Anime Expo. And now, like, the projects that they pick and their whole, service philosophy is catered towards taking care of that crowd and those people. So from a privateer press or Games Workshop point of view, or we'll say the standard wargamer point of view, you're going to look at a company like Ninja Division and go, man, they don't really, they may not resonate with that crowd. And what I'm saying is they're not exactly intending to resonate with that crowd. So don't be too surprised. If you are like a huge anime manga fan and you like a little more like social type gaming, beer and pretzel type stuff, Ninja Division is killing it right now and stuff like that. Don't worry about stuff like Aliens versus Predator and they distribute for Protos and stuff like that. Don't worry about that so much. Look at the stuff that they're supporting. Dropping Eldorado was a heartbreaking thing for me. I really liked Eldorado. I really also liked Anima Tactics, but there were reasons why basically the Cypher properties did not last with Ninja Division, and the Soda Pop properties did very well and continue to do very well. Even Relic Knights, which was shocking to me. Like this past Anime Expo, I was surprised to see as many Relic Knights fans there as I saw. I didn't even think there were this many Relic Knights fans to begin with. But a lot of people there were big on Relic Knights. Obviously, I'm a huge Relic Knights fan, so I was super happy to talk to them about the newer stuff, and the models that were on the shelf there at Anime Expo. Super happy to talk about stuff like that with them. Okay, yeah, see how that green, let me just, see how the green and the black work super well together? Like, look at this for a second. See that? Like, if you could imagine me taking that black and taking it into more parts of the model, I think that would look amazing. But alas, 'tis not to be. Let's go ahead and go with our purple paint, and we'll just see where this takes us. Again, I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping that's not this. This doesn't look as bad as I think it will look. But let's see. So taking Vallejo model color purple, just straight up purple. Not taking violet or anything like that. Violet's a cool kind of a deeper color, or even this Warlock purple from the game color. I think that's a great color, but it's just they're just too vibrant. We're gonna go with a desaturated purple. We still want to kind of keep the morbid feeling of the Morticians and all this. Okay. So first thing that's gonna be purple. Going to be the ribbons on old Obulus here. That's going to be purple. So anyway. Let's see how it looks. I'm always like, when I start playing around with a color scheme, as you can see, I tend to start with the lightest color, and then I start adding the other colors in. In this case, the green, because I airbrushed the green. And this green, to me, the way I airbrushed and highlighted it, it kind of reminds me of like the ghost green from, say, Lord of the Rings, like the you know, that ghost army that they enlist to fight with them. Kind of reminds me of that. So it's kind of a cool green. The purple's not coming out as bad as I thought it would be. I mean, I guess it could work. I guess it could work. Because I think it's better that I didn't go with like such a vibrant, like a bright green. I mean, not a great, vibrant, like pink or a purple. Just going with straight up purple. So all the ribbon work, I guess we're gonna do purple. What I didn't want to do is I don't want this guy to look like a weird, like psychedelic candy striper. I just screwed up. That should not do that. There we go. So either nobody's typing in comments or I'm suffering a delay in my comment section. Not really seeing much comments tonight, but again, you know, we still haven't stabilized here on the feed. I think I am going to end up with Tuesdays kind of being the regular night as opposed to Wednesday, as Thursday will become the gaming weeknight. My designated gaming weeknight will be Thursday. So I'm just gonna paint a little more purple here. Whoa, that's a problem, man. That shouldn't. There you go. I have to shade the green to get that to work. It's starting to remind me of a superhero. Can't remember what superhero this could be, but this, like, the way the purple and the green is kind of running together, that's what it's reminding me of. Let's paint these. We'll paint his ribbons here. Okay. I just don't know how I feel about it. It's just such a weird combo. I guess it looks all right. It just, I don't know. Right now it's kind of bugging me. You guys tell me. Let me know in the comments. Like, do you think this purple's working? You'd have to imagine it shaded and highlighted properly, but that's the point, right? We're going to base coat it, this purple. Then I'll take it up and down. And then we can decide if we like it. Actually, even if I don't like it, pretty much staying with it. That's what the client wanted. I could have done something really kind of cool with this green. It's kind of a shame. Like, I probably would have taken this green and just mixed it used black as the accent color and then highlighted the green up to white in some cases. So that's how this model is going to look, essentially. Whoa. Yeah, let's just paint that whole legging purple. Too many weird angles on Obulus here. Okay, there we go. And I guess the purple, it's all right. It's just a little weird. Okay, now let's do purple again as the accent color for Mr. Silence here. Just, man, I don't like it. I'm not liking this purple. I'm really not. All right. So it looks like we want to do purple on all the accents. So I'm going to do purple. I'm going to do purple right here. On Silence. I'm painting basically the bottom of his weird cowl outfit. I'm not doing the best job hitting the detail accurately. Okay. And I guess I'll do the belt purple. Right, then I'll do we'll do these accent colors. Purple. So do a little bit of a purple here on this ribbon. Right. Do that. And then we're gonna do purple in this belt here. Because Silence is kind of wearing this like kimono looking thing. So all the regular accents on the kimono, I'll paint purple. But it's still like he looks overwhelmingly better with the green, in my opinion. I'll do a purple belt. So we'll follow that purple belt by continuing it to the other side of the model. And then paint the detailing down. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see any comments. So if you guys are leaving any comments, I'm not seeing any. So I apologize if I'm not seeing your comment. But yeah, I'm just going to paint all the little details purple. I don't know. I'm really starting to get a little disenfranchised with YouTube. I mean, I still like doing my video blogging and stuff, but YouTube as a format is starting to just wear on me. You know, it's starting to feel a little grating. There you go. I guess I can do like, I'll do all of this detailing purple. So like that. Like that. There we go. A lot of purple. I hate outlining too. Just hate bordering. I understand aesthetically it looks good and it's easy. An easy way for people to sculpt and get detail on their model. Just kind of, to me, it's just sort of tedious work. I'd rather the time I spent painting a bottle be spent on some cool stuff like blending flesh tones and that kind of stuff, or doing large like sweeping blends where you can get the lighting just right and all that stuff. I like that. All right, and let's do purple. I'm just going to keep doing purple. This model's going to have all kinds of purple and green on it. Right? And I'm actually going to paint this entire, what do you call this? The petticoat? Is it a petticoat? This little bit that's underneath the main robe here? I think so. That's what my wife calls it when she sticks those little, it's like a little extra skirt that poofs out the one above it. She calls it a petticoat. So I think that's what this is. This must be a Mortician petticoat. So there we go. I don't know, man. It reminds me of this restaurant, this local restaurant called Acapulco's. That's what that reminds me of. It reminds me of the same paint scheme as an Acapulco's. And I don't know. I don't think it's great. We're gonna make it work. We're gonna make it work, but it's just not a fan. Okay, so they've got their purple, or at least their base coat purple. Let's go to Mr. Rage here. He is, so my instructions with the Union guys is they're supposed to be mostly purple with green accents. So whereas the Morticians are green with purple accents, this guy here is going to be mostly purple with green accents. Yuck. Already I don't like. I mean, they're purple and green are complementary colors, and I get that. It's just not doing anything for me. Put the hat. So we're going to do purple vest. Wow. Yeah, it's just me now. Such a quiet evening. And I'm only doing like base coat stuff, so I understand that like from a painting aspect, this is a pretty boring feed. I may have to introduce the black as a third color on this model just to have a little bit more interest on it. Because as it stands, this isn't exactly grabbing anybody. Just a purple and green dude. Vision, there's another one. He's red and yellow and green, but I don't know. I'm trying to think of superhero themes that are green and purple. Hulk is green and purple because he's green, and his pants, at least in the comic, are most likely purple. Most of the time. Like most of the more iconic Hulk art has him in purple pants. So we're also going to just do purple pants on this guy. I guess he doesn't look awful. I mean, he just looks like a bright purpley guy. Kind of like a Seamus from Malifaux type thing. All right. Let's finish doing all the other base color on him, on these models. All right. Let's go on with, let's paint like the brick of the basing. So I need like that really, oops. I need like a really deep red. I think I have like a red gore or something. Right? Yeah, I've got it. Yeah, it doesn't matter how I store my paints, guys. I always end up just like scumbing through them in an attempt to find the colors that I need. That's red ink, isn't it? Yeah. What's that, red ink? Okay. Can't really find what I'm looking for. Okay. Let's do option B then. Okay, so we're going to take some carmine red and we're going to add a little bit of a brown to it. And this will give us our brick color. So we're going to go carmine red and a mahogany brown. And we're going to mix those in almost equal parts. Okay. And that'll give us the brick cobblestone color that we're looking for. I'm telling you, I just don't know if I like this color scheme. But again, I should probably calm down. It's not my, these aren't my miniatures. It's what somebody's asking me to do. Just, man, the color schemes that people ask me for. It's like, come on. I like it personally. My favorite jobs are the people that are like, you're the artist, you come up with the color scheme. I think, I think your artist, if you're hiring an artist to do something for you, they're gonna do what they're most comfortable with. And they're gonna play to their own strengths. And I think you're gonna end up getting something really good out of it. Still a little too brown. Let's go a little more red. I want this cobblestone to look a little more like brick than anything. So I guess I'll lean a little bit more on the red side than the brown side. And that looks about right there. Okay. Let's first let's paint this the guild ball. Right. Do I want to do brick cobblestone like that? Yeah, sure, why not? It'll be like a natural. Oh no, yeah, let's just go with it. Looks good. Once again, welcome to the show. If you're, let us know what you're painting and what you should be painting right now. I'm painting Guild Ball Morticians with this color scheme that I'm not entirely a fan of. This red is coming off pretty warm. Ooh, can't even get it to really sit consistently on there. Let's just put an initial coat down. Let that dry, and then I'll have to double coat these bases. Well, they look a little weird right now. I'm afraid if I paint them dark, that the models will look too desaturated. So let's do this and see what we. Okay, so we'll let that dry. That's a really, how that red just end up getting really, really thin. I don't know. Either way, it's going to take a little bit of time for this stuff to dry. But unfortunately, I think, this is the most basic outline of how these characters are going to look. And I just don't know. I don't know if I like it. Let us know what you're painting and what you should be painting. Let me stop here for a little trail mix. And I'll keep going. We're moving pretty quickly through them, so I guess that's the upside. But oh, what the hell is going on there? Felt like I almost chipped a tooth there. Let's figure out how we're going to wash these. I need to wash the green. So I'm probably going to use this Beal Tan green. And that's probably the nicer looking green. So I'll wash that and then come back and I'll highlight if I need to. But frankly, I think if I do that wash and keep it relatively thin, it's going to do what I want it to do. All right, ready? Let's get back to it. I'm going to take this Beal Tan green and, oops, I'm going to put it here on the wet palette. And then I'm just going to really just kind of dilute it like 1 to 1. Okay. So I'll dilute it 1 to 1. Mix that up. And then let's start applying it. Okay. All right. Whoop. I guess we'll start here with silence. So just to give the green a bit more depth, I don't want to actually tint the green. I want it to keep its hue. I just want a little bit of shadow. Right? And this is doing the job very well. This is doing exactly what I was hoping it would do. So that's good, at least, right? At least we can get this green to work the way we want it to. And, you know, keep the shading real subtle. What I don't want to do is I don't want this green to come out starting to look like, you know, a clown or, you know, the Joker or something like that. I just want to be able to provide enough shading on parts of the model. I mean, it's almost not enough shading. But at least I don't run the risk of it pooling too much or anything like that. It's actually looking pretty good. Okay. All right. The lighting really sucks on this show, doesn't it? This particular show, doesn't it? Try to get, I can get you guys some better lighting so you can actually see what I'm doing. Kill Q Boys is working on Rinfera. Nice. Metal Rinfera, plastic Rinfera, dark space Rinfera. I think my favorite of all of those is the dark space. It's a super fun model. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do two layers of wash. Let me spike a little more wash into my wet palette. There we go. All right. Okay. So let's get some of this green on Obulus. There we go. So this is a little bit heavier, but Obulus doesn't have as much green on him. So this is actually going to work pretty well in terms of giving him depth, especially with all the weird angles, once again, that Obulus has. This actually did kind of tint a little bit. Kind of a bummer. I was really kind of liking that shade. But I can, I can highlight back to it, so it's not the end of the world if I don't like that shade. Okay, there's that. And let's do Mr. Rage here. I'm gonna do his cigar still. you go. All right. Not too bad, I suppose. Let's just put a little bit of, well, I guess I missed that spot. With regards to the shading. There we go. Okay. So now, while that's drying, probably want to go and put in some details that I currently don't have on there, such as painting the cigar. There we go. Looks like I missed his chin too. So I can actually, here we go. Good. Okay. And then now we can highlight the purple. So we'll highlight the purple with this color, blue violet. And I'm gonna do this super thin once again. So this is gonna be a little bit more than a 1-to-1, closer to like a 2-to-1 thinning ratio. And I want to keep the highlighting pretty tight and pretty subtle on these. I'm just going to bring you in here closer to the light, I suppose. So we can work a little bit more on camera and you can see a little bit more of what's going on. Okay, so I'm just going to start to highlight the purple, just picking off the high edges, nothing. There should be any real surprises here for those of you who regularly do miniature painting. And for those of you who are here to learn, this is just kind of a painting 101 thing. It's like this is like one of the most basic techniques. I'm not doing any blending, I'm not doing anything like that, just picking off edges with the lighter purple color. Really? And all that's doing is it's throwing, your eyes are going to perceive that the light is being thrown around a little bit more on the model than it actually is. And your brain subconsciously is going to make you think that this is actually a bigger piece than it really is. I know that sounds weird, but that is really like one of the techniques for miniature painting, is that you're trying to take a thing that's about this, about 1.5 inches tall, and you're trying to light it in such a way to trick yourself into thinking that it's actually more like 6 feet tall. That's actually part of what you're doing when you're highlighting like this. Purple is kind of a weird color to deal with. Personally, if I'm gonna pick purple on a Morticians model, what I would honestly do is take, start off the same way I was before with the green or whatever color I decided would be my pale color, because you want a pale color. Then I would still do it in this way, but then when it came to the purple, I would actually paint all these sections that German gray first, and then come back in and highlight just towards the edges, this purple, and then the very sharpest highlight would obviously be this blue violet. That I think would give the model a much darker tone, and I think it would look cooler overall. It wouldn't look so Acapulco restaurant. A lot of cleanup I have to do just because of all the weird edges and bordering on this model. Okay. All right, so here we go. And I'm going to edge highlight the purple. I have to go break out the green again to get the green right. Okay. I'm moving pretty quick through these. Who knows? I might actually finish tonight. That'd be kind of cool. Because then I can just bring the models back on Thursday and be like, here you go. But I guarantee you, probably not going to have the money. I can't guarantee you that. But that's what my mind, that's where, it's my little joke to myself. So don't sweat it. All right. Okay. Nice and quick, right? Like there's not, just quickly going through and hitting these. Okay. So far, so good. Now let's highlight some of that green. I was using, I really just sort of airbrushed this foul green, and then I should be highlighting with either scorpion green or livery green. I think I'm going to highlight with livery green. It's got a little bit of yellow to it, but that's fine. And again, I'm going to thin this because I don't want this to be too prominent. Yeah. Yeah, this livery green is a bit more yellow, but that's kind of cool too. It's going to give me a little bit of a warmer effect on the model. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's cool looking. Right? There we go. So gotta be very sparing with this highlight, this particular highlight. I don't want it to overpower the model. But it's giving, what I like is it's giving it the right amount of depth that I wanted. And then I actually have another color that I can highlight to take the green highlight just one more step further. This is nice. This is giving it a much like warmer, kind of a necromantic glow to it, which I think is pretty rad. The color scheme's all right. It's okay. It's not my favorite. Not my favorite. I would have, yeah, we already talked about that stuff. I would have done a little different on this model, but you know. You can see what I'm doing here. There you go. So that's given it, that's already given that model quite a bit more depth. And we'll do that here to Mr. Obulus. Okay, there you go. So this paint job ended up being very, very simple. And just, I guess, simple and effective is what we got here. Okay. There we go. I need to highlight the next. Let's just stay on the green for a minute. I'm going to pick the next color for green, the very tippy highlight, which is pale blue. Tippity. For you Pootie Tang fans out there. Okay. So this is almost like back to a gray. And we're going to just do this like on the very sharpest edges of the model, of the green. There we go. So right there, here. Yeah, rather than doing like a full white, we'll blend this in. And make that kind of give the model the lighting that it really needs. Not very good at painting green. I think that's why I have so many different greens in my paint bin. Because I'm like just never 100% comfortable with painting it. It never quite does what I want it to. Although this is looking, to me, this is looking pretty good. Like this is looking as good as this green purple color scheme is going to look. So again, just hitting the very, very raw edges, this color. The weird thing is I can actually highlight, I can like edge highlight most of the model with this color, this pale blue-gray, and it'll blend just fine. Like there it is over the blue-violet, and it looks correct. Looks like I'm transitioning to the right color on the edge highlight. So it's actually looking correct. Just so many little edges to do. Kind of will drive you crazy if you try to do the whole thing. In fact, I can even do, like I can edge the weird mime cap he's got. I call it a mime cap. It's just weird. Just kind of looks like almost like a French mime actor, you know. We'll call it the guignol, you know, his face here. Still doesn't quite look right. Yeah, that's not looking so good. We'll fix that. Let's fix that right now. It just ended up looking fuzzy. I need that line to be nice and straight. There we go. Okay. Let's give, and then on the, I'll do the feathers. We'll just dry brush the feathers, I guess, with the same pale blue-gray. So I'm gonna do like a true dry brush here because I just want it to be real light. You got to go real gentle on this. Right. There we go. All right. Continuing on. Boop. It's looking pretty good though. All right. And I guess we can always call it right there. Okay, now let's move over to Mr. Opulus. And I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do a true dry brush. That means like get rid of almost all the paint and then come in real light. and just hit the feathers. I hope the client's happy with this. I don't know if he will be, but I don't know. I did actually do the color scheme that he was looking for. And the painting quality is, you know, it's to my standard. It's to my normal standard. Nothing to really write home about, but, you know, it looks good from that 3-foot range that we like to say. That, you know, tabletop quality should look pretty good from about 3 feet out. But I'll do close-ups. And I'll post some pics too. I always get a little nervous posting pics though of commissions because it's like the person that sees them is like, hey, can you do a little bit more on it? You know? But if they're, you know, if it's outside the scope of what we talked about, like, hey, can you freehand or can you actually do this other color, that kind of thing, then I have to charge them like a little more. I think it's only fair because it's like, okay, well, we never talked about that. Here's what I charge. Here's what I'm charging you for the job as we agreed upon. Then we'll take it to that other conversation. Let's do a little bit of black right there. Boop. There we go. The buckle. Okay. I know, Kitty. I don't know. Is that really done? I don't know. I mean, I'm not counting the base, but that's the color scheme you wanted? Okay. Mm. Mm. I can use a verdigris. Let's keep going. All right. Finally, we'll go with Rage here. I'm going to do a little edge highlighting on him. I don't know. The way I painted him here, it kind of looks like Andy Samberg to me for some reason. For you SNL fans. And I don't think there are that many SNL fans left. I don't think that show is doing very well right now. I don't think it's very funny. I think the talent on that show seems to be lacking. Well, maybe not so much the talent, but the writing on that show is just horrendous right now. I mean, they have some funny people on there, but I don't think that their writing is really up to par. I don't know why this guy has a skinned rabbit on his leg, but I'm about to paint it. You're just hopping on the feed. Welcome to Play It Painted Live. Let us know what you're painting, what you should be painting. Again, working on some Morticians for Guild Ball. Little effects here on the axe. Man, there's lots of little details that I gotta hit. It's not the end of the world. That's just kind of how it goes. Right? Let me show you Rage here. It's the first time painting this miniature. And he's pretty fun. Gotta admit, he's pretty fun. I don't like the color scheme that I'm being asked to paint, but I do think he's kind of cool. I'm gonna put a little off-white on that bunny. Just a tiny little bit. He's got a little bunny. That's a lot bit. He's got a little bunny here on his leg. Okay. Also, I should paint a little bit of yellow ochre. If I can find my yellow ochre. Just on his buttons and stuff. So real minor stuff here. But yeah, they're coming along. They're most likely going to be finished by the time I wrap this up. Mortarian Centurius. The color scheme makes him look like a Victorian era Joker. It does, doesn't it? That's what I was thinking. Like it definitely looks like a Joker type character, and that's the color scheme. I don't know. It's not awful. It's just I think we could have done better with the color scheme. Whoa. I think it actually looks better on him than the other two models. It might be because there's more purple and less green, but whatever. Oh man. This brush is having a bad time. Okay. Yeah, it looks okay. Not the best. Paint the rope on there. I guess that's a bunny he's going to eat later. Okay. Let's do another coat on the base. We're going with like a red clay cobblestone base. It's not bad. That sit there. So here's silence. Yeah, I just don't know, man. I feel like the purple is really... The green on that one's making him look weird, and the purple on this one's making this scheme look weird. What I really need to do is let's do a little cleanup. Oh, that's drying. Let me get this base though. I can use other browns and stuff and make these flagstone bases, but again, kind of got shorted on the overall deal, so we're going to keep this pretty basic. I'll let that dry for a little bit. I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup. Particularly around this area. Whoa. A little too much. I gotta just fade that off. There we go. The purple is just a little too washed out. And I want the green. Well, here's the thing. With this, you want the green to look washed out because that's what kind of gives it the morbid look. But then the purple needs to be a little more, it needs to be a little more chromatic. It needs to be a little bit more saturated if we're going that route. Or it needs to go, I need it to just go black and maybe a little bit of bronze in this area so that that green can really be the showcase of the model. Again, I think they look okay. It's not my favorite, but you know, it is what it is. It's fine. At this point, really, the only things left to do is just minor stuff, and then I gotta paint the lip of the base. It's all pretty minor stuff, though. I'm gonna do a little bit of edging here on the guild ball. I'm gonna wash all these bases with strong tone. Okay. It's almost dry. Whew. So I don't know what I'm going to paint next. If I'm going to paint my Wild in the Street stuff, or if I'm going to paint Avarice and Greed, or if I'm going to paint, you know, the Ninja All-Star stuff. I guess for the rest of this week, it makes more sense if I paint if I stop and paint Chibi. Actually, from a total efficiency standpoint, what I should do is paint all the Wild in the Street stuff. So that's 12 models out of the way. And then I can kind of move on. Just put a little verdigris down. I do like painting verdigris for lighting effects. I think it's a pretty cool color for that. Too bad that's my only lighting effect, is that little dot. There you go. Just give the base a little time to dry. Actually, what I could do, no, let's wait. I'll just sit here and eat trail mix until somebody tells me to talk about something. One of the things I do, I've been doing lately when I paint stuff on the show now, is I actually talk about how they are gaming-wise, okay? So I'm going to give my opinion on these three. I don't have their stat cards in front of me. I guess I can pull them up on GB Scrum so that we can look at them. So let's go ahead and do that while we're waiting for them, for that red brown to dry. All right. Okay, so I will start with silence on this for our little tactical talk here. Okay, so silence, obviously he's a player for the Morticians Guild. A lot of people view silence as kind of a control piece / backup striker, because that's kind of what he does. He's not, he doesn't appear to be incredibly fast, but he does have a move 5-6, meaning it's 5-6, and his playbook is to show you. His playbook is a little lacking, to be honest. I mean, it's got some damage on it. He's got the momentous 2 damage on 2 hits. That's actually pretty nice with TAC 5, meaning he'll hit that a reasonable amount of times. He's got the good 3-6 kick. That's a tough thing to find on Morticians, so that's why I'm saying he's kind of a striker / backup striker. 1-inch melee zone, not too impressive. 5-0 defense and 15 boxes. That's actually pretty good, you know, for a character without armor, especially a male character with 5 defense and 15 hit boxes for what is basically a control / support piece. That's pretty damn good. The stat that I really like here, though, is influence 3-4. 3 influence, like anytime a player is giving a team 3 influence, that's pretty amazing, right? I think he's the only 3 influence non-captain in the game that dumps 3 influence in your pool. Plus, you got Obulus coming in at 5-8. So, I mean, you're styling with silence and Obulus. Now, the other thing about silence is he puts in 3 influence, but he's super influence efficient, because his you'll see his playbook. I mean, his character plays are pretty low cost stuff: tucked, shutout, and embalming fluid. So tucked and shutout are basically similar abilities. They're both 1 cost plays, so that's good in that sense that they're only 1 influence cost plays, but they're also 1 influence ranged plays or they're a bit dicey, you know, because you only get the 1 die to throw. Obviously, Obulus can fix that. Can fix one of those roles every turn with confidence. One of the best support skills in the entire game. But tucked and shutout basically do the same thing. They're 8-inch range. 1 makes it so that the opponent has to activate the model as its next activation, and 2 Shutout makes it so that the opponent has to wait until its last activation to use the target model. So that makes Silence an incredibly potent control piece. So with a 5-inch move and an 8-inch range on these plays, essentially a 13-inch threat range. So unless you puppet master Silence, he's not going to be able to pull that off on very cautious opponents in the first turn. So he might be activating like third or fourth as the board starts to develop. And then Embalming Fluid, which is essentially 1 damage in the burning condition, so he can slow you down and grant poison with Embalming Fluid. He also has the ability to remove the taken out condition from Dirge, so basically a resurrect spell on Dirge, which is pretty powerful. And he receives kick support from Dirge. So within 4 inches of Dirge, he's going to gain +1/+1 kick. So now he's a 4/7 kick. That's actually really, really good. Silence is I think he's a really good Morticians player. Some people consider him an auto-include, in fact. He's definitely, I don't play Morticians, but if I were to play Morticians, he would be pretty much on every roster I could think of. So that's Obulus. Then we've got Rage, who is the Union player. He can play for a few different teams, like all Union players. He can play for Brewers, Butchers, Engineers, and Morticians. So he's going to be playing for the more damage type teams. Engineers, I don't know if they're considered a damage type team, but he would definitely help them with that cause. He's got this Rogue Maverick that he can't be affected by other friendly plays or character traits. That's really interesting. That makes him actually a pretty good pair with guys like Fangtooth that would actually slow him down. He can just totally ignore stuff like that. Unfortunately, though, it also means that he can't benefit from things like Football Legend or plays that traits that are going to be in his benefit as well. He has the Berserk rule, which is very similar to Boar, so that he becomes very influence efficient. Basically, if he's doing damage, he's going to get another free attack. He can also charge without spending influence. Again, that plays to the whole very influence efficient model. And then he has the and then he gives out bleed. So really cool traits there. Stat wise, the thing that stands out is the 6 tack, which is quite nice. And then the downside, 4-0 defense and 1-1 influence. 4-0 defense is tough. 4-0 defense with 17 boxes is not terribly hard to get through, and 4 defense with that furious and 1-1 influence means that he can be pretty easy to contain if you're paying attention. If you keep him engaged, he's limited to the 1 influence. That's essentially only going to give him 2 attacks off 1 influence, and he's not dumping into the pool. He's not dumping influence into the pool if you do that. So, that's probably why a lot of people don't particularly like Rage. I think he's fine, though. You just have to you're going to have to do some Obulus stuff to keep him clear if the opponent is trying to lock him down. And then, pick you don't want to do it every turn, but you pick your moment to puppet master him to get him into position or keep him clear. All right. Now let's go to the big dude. Obulus. Probably easily the most talked about character in Guild Ball. Obulus, the Mortician Season 1 captain, considered one of the best, most powerful captains in the game. A lot of people make the argument that he actually might even be overpowered. I don't think he's overpowered. I think he could use a review. He might use a really, really minor tweak, but I don't consider him to be broken. I consider him to be powerful. I consider him to be on the higher end of the spectrum for players and captains in Guild Ball. Don't know if I really consider him to be really broken. He can be a differentiator, though, between players of equal skill just because of his capabilities. He's also, though, The downside to Obulus is he has a pretty steep learning curve, and in turn he makes the Morticians very steep learning curve. Okay, so his traits. Here we go. These are these two little traits. He only has 2 traits and a legendary, and these 2 traits don't seem to be much until you consider them together. So he has Shadow, like he gets a 2-inch dodge at the start of his move, right? He also has unpredictable movement, which means anytime anyone's moving in the model's melee zone, he can immediately make a 2-inch dodge. We'll get to that in a minute, why that's so dangerous. And then his legendary play is pretty crazy. The enemy team loses all momentum points. The friendly team gains momentum equal to the momentum loss caused by this action. This legendary play does not last until the end of the turn. So essentially, if you're, say, butchers and you're just racking up influence, he may decide, oh, I want all that momentum, and he'll just pull it all from you. Pretty strong. But let's talk about Shadow-like unpredictable movement, and let's look at 2 other stats in particular, just to show you how slippery this fool really is. 4-6 move, that's a lie. It's essentially 6-8 with the Shadow-like. It's better than 6-8 with the Shadow-like because you begin your turn with a dodge. That means if you're engaged with a model that isn't base-to-base with you in a standard 2-inch melee, or worse, a 1-inch melee, Obulus is getting away. He's getting away anytime he wants, essentially, at that point, with that Shadow-like. And then with his unpredictable movement, not only is he getting away on his turn, he's getting away on your turn, too. So it's very tricky to get around unpredictable movement and Shadow-like. Then here's the next stat that counts towards that whole slippery playstyle, the 2-inch melee. That's ridiculous. That's where I'm saying, well, okay, now you've got a guy that can essentially reduce a team's ability to get him by at least 50% at any given time. That's where it gets strong. So you look at that 2-inch melee zone. Okay, so what? Okay, he can control. He takes up more of the board. He can access his unpredictable movement a little more easily. He can attack other models with relative impunity that have 1-inch melee. And then right here, this play right here, the playbook. Oops. Let's look at his playbook, right? Damage-wise, nothing really to write home about. He's only got 1 momentous damage play. But if you're using Obulus to really beat people down, there's only so much of that you can do. You can use him as a finisher. You can use him as pretty much anything. But here, it's these first 2 columns that are particularly powerful. So, like I said, start of his turn, 2-inch dodge. Move into his 2-inch range, 2-inch dodge. Has a 2-inch melee zone. And then finally, if you look at that playbook, he's got a momentous 1 dodge on 1. And then a double dodge on 2. That's where things get a lot out of control. A 2-inch dodge, it doesn't even matter that it's non-momentous. 2-inch dodge on 2 with 2-inch melee, unpredictable movement. He can set himself up to get away from anybody with so much as a UM, and as a backup, he's got a counter attack. And you use that 2-inch melee and the double dodge here as like the ultimate, octopus ink squirt moment to get away from somebody, to launch that counter attack and get out of the way. That's what makes him so slippery. He's dodging automatically. And then, I said that twice on purpose because Shadow-like unpredictable movement, and then 2-inch melee with a double dodge on 2. This guy is really slippery. He's really, really slippery. That's the point where it's like, okay, you've given him all these abilities that he always gets. That's the point where you start to wonder about power. It'd be one thing if it's like, okay, well, if I had to pay an influence to give him a 2-inch melee, like he maybe has a standard 1-inch melee, and then during the turn, You know, it's almost like a nimble. Instead of a nimble, you give him a 2-inch melee, and then, you know, he can really use that double dodge. I think that's a little more balanced. Give him a 1-inch melee, but then like give him a 1-cost play to go, okay, you can go 2-inch melee, so that when he's off turn, he can activate with that crazy slipperiness, and he can activate the counterattack with the crazy slipperiness. He just has to pay 1 additional influence. That's kind of how I would balance him. Anyway, he's got confidence, which is, I didn't even realize this till the last time we played, is ridiculous. I've already loved confidence to begin with, because it gives you a reroll 1 or more dice during your next attack or character play. During its activation, you can use it on target friendly models. And the thing that I love about this play, 1-cost influence, 4-inch range, that's all pretty standard, like buff range, but there's no limitation on it. In other words, Obulus can spam this. Like he cast it on all 5 of his teammates. That's crazy. That's like, I haven't seen anyone do it, but if you were so inclined, you could do that during his turn and set your team up to be amazing. Misdirection, almost nobody uses this play. It's situationally useful. You could use it to screw with somebody at the right point in the game when you know something's coming, when you know someone's going to make a goal attempt or going to try to finish somebody. Just the ability to pull 1 influence from them from 8 inches away is pretty powerful. And then finally, the ability everybody kind of flips out about, Puppet Master. This is an 8-inch range, 4 influence, but you actually get 1 back. Most people call it a 3 influence play. And then you can make a jog, pass, or attack without spending influence. You can target an enemy model and control them, essentially. And that's kind of the allure to playing Obulus, is this one ability here, Puppet Master. It's a very, very powerful ability. It is kind of weird that, you know, you get the 1 back after casting it successfully, just as kind of a insult. I find that Puppet Master, strong Mortician players are using Puppet Master more often on their own players than they are on enemy players. And it might only be that 1 time per game, maybe twice per game. When Obulus decides to use it on an enemy player, it's when it's really, really powerful. So anyways, that's it. The other thing I'll bring up, you know, all that slipperiness, plus 4/1 defense with 16 boxes, nothing to sneeze over. So yeah, Obulus, super strong character. Silence is a good, solid character. Rage is a good character, but you know, Silence and Rage, they're going to take a little bit of understanding to wield properly on the field. But again, good control on these models. Dagobah Dave says, "Hi Octave." Hey, what's up? Dagobah Dave, that's a cool name. Anyway, yeah. So that's these pieces. Let me go ahead and we're gonna put some ink on them, on the base. So there's shading. If I can find it, what do I do with it? It's my strong tone. There you go. Use a little bit of strong tone here. And I'm not going to thin it. I'm just going to put it on the wet palette. And a lot of times that's good enough to give me the kind of shading I want. And then I'm just going to put that in here. And there we go. Right? Then I'll paint the bases in. And then we're styling, man. We're done, essentially. There might be some minor detail work to do on these. Overall, I think they were okay. Again, not a fan of the color scheme that was requested, but whatever. I got to remember how I did that. I used like kind of an emerald green through an airbrush to get that base green coat. And then I used scorpion green and Beeltan green as a highlight and a shade. And then finally a pale blue gray as the final highlight. Okay. So for the ball, I'm also going to shade the ball too. Okay. If you guys have any questions or anything, let me know. We are, believe it or not, we are actually heading towards the end of the feed here. All right. So there's that. And then we're gonna paint the lips of the base black, and we're gonna call it a day. No questions, no comments, threats, anything like that. Let me know. Let me know if you think I should paint Wild in the Streets next, or my Ninja All-Stars, Ronin, or if I should paint Avarice and Greed from Guild Ball. So again, those are all sitting on my paint table. Probably not going to take much for me to finish Avarice and Greed, so maybe if I have time, maybe that's what I end up painting tomorrow night. Yeah, one more black. Mm-hmm. Okay, let that dry. It was all pretty standard painting tonight. Nothing, I don't think I did anything particularly groundbreaking. Just the standard paint job that I normally do. I guess in a way, the color scheme that I keep bitching about was kind of a good thing in that, I don't paint with these colors very often. This green and especially not the purple, but at least this gives me a little bit of insight as to how to approach those colors for future jobs. I'm probably going to end up having to do the rest of the team in this color scheme. So I may actually have to come back and refer to this. Are you a professional painter? I don't know what that means. I guess with regards to, do I get paid to paint? Yes. I mean, that's the strict definition of professional painter. It's not, this isn't my career, but it's just part of what I do to help cover the cost of the hobby and, pay the babysitter. So yeah, I guess so. I guess we'd say that. I'm not a competitive painter. Like I don't I'm not going to be winning any crystal brushes anytime soon or anything like that, if that's what the question is. And whoa, getting a little bit of water repellency on this black. That's annoying. I may have to come in and paint a second coat of black. But yeah, here's so it looks like we're going to be keeping with this Tuesday night format, I think, at least for the foreseeable future, until the baby is born. Then when the baby is born, we got to figure out. I have to figure out what could I feasibly do, in order to keep the stream going, or if I don't think the stream is going to end, at least not right after the baby is born. But I think it's going to be more of a challenge actually when they get a little bit older, and we're trying to put 2 kids to sleep at night. Is it going to be? Am I going to be able to do live feeds? I might have to do them in like sporadic, like a non-scheduled way, and just say, okay, well, here's a night I can do it, and then just turn on the camera and start painting there. I don't really know what my painting output's going to be either. Because it's like if let's say this kid, the new kid, and our current child have this, they conspire to keep one awake at all times. Then I don't really know how much painting I'm going to be capable of. But we're just going to have to play by ear and see how that works. I'm going to let these dry for a minute, and then we'll show them. Probably won't be dry enough to photograph tonight, but they'll show up on the feed at some point. If they don't show up on the feed, then you can check SoCal Guild Ball. They'll probably show up there too. So, in fact, you know what I can do? While these are drying, I can snap a little photo of them and put them on SoCal Guild Ball. Say, hey, these are drying. Still very much drying. I don't know. But yeah, with that, if you guys have any other questions or anything, leave them in the comments. The chat is going to close, so you may want to just enter them in the comments for later anyway, and then I'll try to answer them from there. So with that, it is getting pretty late at night. I got to get up early tomorrow and go to work. So once again, thanks everybody for watching, and we're going to keep it with Tuesdays, so stay tuned. You might actually see a streamed game this weekend. I want to play Relic Knights, but I don't know. I think we've been playing a lot of Ninja All-Stars lately, so you might see that instead. So anyways, with that, I'm going to say thanks everybody for watching. Have a good night, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.